I've always had some talent or ability, particularly in writing and in the clarity of my introspection, as in my depth of thought and my subsequent skill in articulating thoughts and explaining complex ideas. I just have a natural proclivity to think, and regrettably overthink on occasion. But at the same time, I have a genuine appreciation for just thought itself, and I can find regular solace in silence with nothing but books and my own private thoughts. What a wondrous thing it is to not only think, but think freely, and hence build and construct, cultivating a rich, vibrant, and poetic inner world of one's own personal creation, and to only ever allow a select few inside of it. Not to speak for the sake of it, unlike most nowadays, but to simply smile as the world underestimates you and the depth of your mind. To have the world never know what it is you think, unless you choose to tell it. To contemplate big questions and feel encouraged that you have already travelled in your mind to more unique and darker places than most will ever dare to go. To know that at any time you are alone, you can travel, learn, and grow further within your inner world of imagination before you ever travel, learn, and grow in the outer world. And you can do all of this without the use of substances. This is how one may escape a physical prison or escape oppressive conditions. Evidently, one is free if they think they are, and can choose to be free in their mind, even if they have knowledge that they are physically oppressed. There are obviously numerous historical examples of this defiance. In my estimation, the classic 1994 film, The Shawshank Redemption, is a basic example of something that illustrates the beauty of thought very effectively. The moment Andy Dufresne arrives at Shawshank Prison, he is underestimated and misunderstood. He's a very private and quiet individual with a capacity for thought far beyond that of any of the other characters. He is the master of the house, but people are yet to realize this about him. He keeps himself sane and content through the power of his mind, and through acts of service to others, for which he asks nothing in return. As mentioned earlier, there is at least some power in choosing to remain silent. The reason he is able to escape and rebuild his life into something better is because, for the most part, he keeps his thoughts to himself and slowly acts them out. No one knows what he is planning, because he doesn't tell anyone his thoughts, and only really hints at them when he talks to his most trusted friend, Red. Andy never loses his inner world, because he values his mind and realizes the impenetrable beauty of private thought. Thus he maintains his power, because his thoughts are the only things that cannot be touched and cannot be taken from him. He refuses to be institutionalized. And as Red says, some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. But in the case of free thought, or basically German idealist philosophy, and specifically the rejection of it, the cage is more precisely a mental one, with regard to the unwillingness to accept or realize that one does have their own private mind, and does not need to be part of the masses, or part of the submissive hive mind, and never needed to be at any point, but may only publicly comply to avoid detection or conflict. This is why the conquering of the mind, or in a religious sense, the conquering of the soul, is the final frontier to completely conquering a population. And this is what the elite class of society are blatantly open about gradually implementing into the reality within which we live. It's just a shame that in some sense, so many have obviously already been mentally defeated, and submit not with a roar, but a whimper. In terms of classic literature, this frightful reality is what George Orwell's 1984 was warning against, and this is what Winston and Julia are both aware of and seek to escape in the book. Thus, to have one's own thoughts or one's own soul and have total control over whether you share them with the world or share them with anyone at all, that is and has always been a form of strength, and that is and has always been beautiful to me.